My name is Akankshya Upadhyay and I am your English instructor. In today's class, we will solve the exercise portion of Unit 8, which is asking for reasons, purpose, and their responses. Let's begin. Today we have a very strong article about human trafficking. Human trafficking is one of the cross-cutting issues. It is a worldwide serious concern. Human trafficking is an illegal trade of human beings for sexual exploitation, forced labor, extraction of organs or tissues, and so on. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, human trafficking is the recruitment of transportation of persons by means of the threat or use of force or other forms of abduction, fraud, or deception, or for the purpose of exploitation. It knows no gender, age, race, and boundaries. Victims are trafficked within a country or transnational. They are smuggled because they are forced to work as prostitutes, domestic servants, beggars, factory workers, mine workers, circus performers, and child soldiers. It is like another form of slavery. The majority of trafficking victims are women and children because of their marginalization in many societies and their limited economic resources. Besides them, other key target groups include people from low-income households, ethnic minorities, illiterate or people with low level of education, refugees, illegal migrants, children running away from home, and other. Members of split families are also prone to it. Women of forced marriage and early marriage, deserted wife, widow, and discriminated daughters are easily victimized. Traffickers prey on the most vulnerable members of society. In order to deceive first, they take help of local people to identify such families. They may provide economic incentive and financial loans to their friends, relatives, family, spouse, or even parents. At times, most victims are lured to promise of better jobs or well-paid jobs in cities, false marriage and proposals, easy money, dream of sophisticated life, and other. Victims of earthquakes, floods, wars, and epidemics can easily be smuggled. Most victims are involved in slavery-like practices and kept in prison-like environment. It is because they can physically and sexually be abused. They have to work long hours without any rest or recreation. They never get medical facility when they fall sick. They are either paid less or their earnings are withheld with prolonged indebtedness to traffickers. Our Constitution has preserved the right to freedom. Therefore, we must fight against trafficking of persons. In addition to legislation, the Nepal government, the Ministry of Women, Children and Welfare, various INGOs and NGOs, and many other organizations in Nepal are dedicated to combat human trafficking. If we suspect anyone involving in such illegal activities, we have to report the police or any member of concerned organization. We can also use helpline numbers anytime to inform about victims or traffickers. Our little effort will be a great help to control violation of human rights. So this was an essay on human trafficking, and it clearly explains the situation of human trafficking, who are victimized and how. Also, it mentions about what can be done, what we can do to minimize it or to control it. Now we shall move towards the exercise. So for the first exercise, we need to find words or phrases from the text that give similar meaning to the ones listed below. So the first meaning is a topic that has strong impact on all and that must receive special attention. And the word that we must find in our text starts from C. So this is a hint, and in the first line we have human trafficking is one of the cross-cutting issues. Now, cross-cutting means a topic that has strong impact. So human trafficking has a very strong impact on all and that must receive special attention. And of course, human trafficking must receive special attention. So with the hint, we write cross-cutting, and this is the word. Next, we have sexual abuse of children and youth. Now here, sexual abuse of children and youth, the word starts from S, and in the text we have human trafficking is an illegal trade of human beings for sexual exploitation. So this is the word for sexual abuse of children and youth. The next word is extending across national boundaries. Extending across national boundaries means transnational. In the first sentence of second paragraph, we have victims are trafficked within a country or transnational. Now, transnational means extending across national boundaries. So because of the hint, it becomes more easy to find these words. The next meaning is a person who engages in a sexual activity for payment. And the word starts with P. So the word for a person who engages in a sexual activity for payment is prostitute. Now we have this in the sentence. They are smuggled because they are forced to work as prostitutes. Now prostitutes means to get involved in sexual activity for payment. Next we have treatment of a person or group as insignificant. Now this means minority. We have the word in the second paragraph, which reads, besides them, other key target groups include people from low-income households, ethnic minorities. We have 3 more left. We need to find a word in the text which means left by husband, and it starts from D. So left by husband is a deserted wife. Next we need to find the word which means exposed to the possibility of being harmed, and it starts from V, and this word is in the text for many times. It's victimized. And finally, the last meaning is it's a telephone service providing help with problems, and it starts from H. So this is helpline. So in helpline, you can simply call and address your problem and tell them your problem and they will address it. So this is the end of our first exercise. Next, we shall state whether the following sentences are true or false. So here are 5 sentences and we need to state whether these sentences are true or false. The first one is traffickers' target is only girls and women. So this is false. Why? Because we just read that it's not only girls and women, but it can also be children. It can be illegal migrants, refugees, or people with low level of education. So yes, the majority is among girls and women, but it's not that the only target is girls and women. Next is human trafficking is a burning issue. Definitely, this is true. So we read that human trafficking is one of the cross-cutting issues and it is of a worldwide concern. So this is a burning issue. Victims get a better job and earn better when they are recruited. This is false. The nearest family member may help the smugglers. This is true because we read that a person's family, friends, relatives, spouse, or even parents help smugglers. So they may help smugglers. Rich and developed countries are free from human trafficking problems. This is false. If it was the case, we would never say that this is a burning issue and is of a serious concern worldwide. Now we have one more exercise which asks us to answer the question. The first question is, what do you mean by human trafficking? The answer is in the first paragraph. Human trafficking is an illegal trade of human beings for sexual exploitation, forced labor, extraction of organs or tissues, and so on. The first paragraph continues to define human trafficking by saying, according to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, human trafficking is the recruitment of or transportation of persons by means of the threat or use of force or other forms of abduction, fraud, or deception, or for the purpose of exploitation. So the answer is, so we say human trafficking is an illegal trade of human beings for sexual exploitation, forced labor, extraction of organs or tissues. Next question is, who are prone to trafficking? The answer reads, women, children, people from low-income household, illegal migrants, deserted wife, widow, etc. are prone to trafficking. We have one more question. How do traffickers victimize the targeted people? Traffickers first take help from locals to identify vulnerable members of society, and they are promised for better job, false marriage and proposals, easy money and dream of sophisticated life. In this way, the traffickers victimize people. This was one easy exercise we've done today. The homework for today's class. The question for today is, human trafficking is another form of slavery. Do you agree? Now, we already know what human trafficking is, and slavery refers to a condition in which individuals are owned by others who control where they live and what they work. and human trafficking, you need to write your opinion on whether you think human trafficking is another form of slavery or not. If I were you, I would agree to the statement, because once a person is trafficked, the person loses control over what work he wants to do and where he lives. So definitely this is another form of slavery, and I would elaborate to these points. But it's your opinion, and you may write, you may agree to this point or you may disagree to this point, but please state your reason. And with this, we've come to the end of today's class. If you have any questions, any suggestions, or anything that you wish to share with us, please feel free to write to us at learning@deerwalk.edu.nb. Thanks for watching.